It was late, past midnight, and I was driving home on the winding back roads and cut through the dense woods outside of town. The air was thick with fog, my headlights barely cutting through the gloom. I told myself I should have taken the highway, but this route was quicker, and I wanted to get home. The silence in my car was almost suffocating. No music, no podcasts, just the hum of the engine and the crunch of gravel beneath my tires. I hadn't passed another car in miles, and isolation was starting to get to me. It's when I saw it. The red and blue lights in my rearview mirror. I hadn't been speeding, I was sure of that. My heart sank, and I pulled over the side of the road, gravel popping under my tires as I stopped. The lights behind me flickered unnervingly through the fog, casting strange shadows over the trees. The officer didn't approach right away. I sat there, engine idling, hands on the wheel, and glancing in the mirror. It felt like an eternity before I finally saw the silhouette of the officer emerging from the fog, their form slightly distorted by the haze. They didn't use a flashlight, which struck me as odd. When they reached my window, I rolled it down just a crack, enough to talk. "Good night. Good evening, officer," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. The figure leaned in slightly. I couldn't see their face, only the outline of their hat and a sliver of their uniform. Something about that seemed rather off.
"Do you know why I stopped you?"
They asked. The voice was low, almost a whisper, but it carried an unnatural weight that made my skin crawl. No, I don't," I replied, my voice trembling slightly. They didn't respond right away. Instead, they stood there, staring, the fog swirling around them.
"Your tail light.
They finally said.
It's out."
That didn't make any sense. I had checked my lights just a few days ago, and everything was working fine. "Are you sure?" I asked, glancing at the rearview mirror. The officer tilted their head slightly, the movement sharp and jerky.
"Step out of the vehicle,"
they said. My stomach dropped. I've heard enough stories to know that's rarely a good sign. I don't feel comfortable doing that," I said, gripping the steering wheel tighter.
"Step out of the vehicle,"
they repeated, their voice colder this time. I looked at their hands. No flashlight, no clipboard, no badge. My breath hitched when I noticed their uniform wasn't even the right color for our local police. "I think I'd like to see some identification," I said, trying to sound braver than I felt. The officer didn't move. For a moment, they were completely still, like a statue. Then, slowly they reached into their pocket and pulled something out. It wasn't a badge. It was a small, weathered photograph. They held it up, and I squinted to see it through the foggy glass. My blood ran cold. It was a picture of me, sitting in my car, wearing the exact same clothes I had on now. "How?" I started, but my voice cracked. The officer leaned closer to the window, and for the first time, I saw their face, or rather, the lack of one. Their features were smeared, like a painting someone had tried to wipe away. Two black voids where their eyes should have been stared at me, and their mouth twisted into a grotesque, jagged grin.
"Step out of the vehicle."
I slammed on the gas. Gravel sprayed as I sped off, heart pounding so hard I thought I might burst. The fog seemed to thicken, the trees closing in around me. I didn't dare to look in the rearview mirror. When I finally reached the main road, the fog cleared and the lights were gone. My hands were shaking as I drove straight home, every shadow on the road sending a fresh wave of terror through me. The next morning, I inspected my car. My taillights were fine. but there was something on the back window that hadn't been there before. A handprint, smeared in red. Everybody, I hope you enjoyed tonight's video. The story. Special shout out to the author of this story for giving me permission to narrate this. And huge shout out to the Chilling Shivers Chronicles. I'm going to link their channel in the description. This guy's voice is absolutely astounding, and I think he has a really promising future doing narrations. So go and check out his channel. He's done also a few other really good stories as well. I hope to have him on the channel for a few more stories as much as possible. And I'd like to do more collabs in the future as well with other narrators. So if you like what you heard, definitely go over to his channel and give a subscribe. Listen to his videos. They're absolutely amazing. And if you liked the video, like, and if it so behooves you, subscribe. So thank you very much again for listening. Have a good night, everyone.